Hey everyone, welcome back to Habs tonight. I'm joined with my buddy Dale as always. Another big week, some big news, but first of all, how you doing in Sweden, buddy?
I'm great, buddy. Another good week, couple exhibition games, and I'm fired up for today, man. Every single guest seems to be getting bigger and bigger for us, and we're getting more comments and more views, and I would expect this one to be our biggest view up to date for sure. Obviously, a very big one for us.
Yeah, so we got Nick Suzuki coming on a little bit after. Obviously, some big news in the Habs world yesterday. KK signing the big offer sheet. We'll expand on that a little bit later on. We'll see if Nick will comment on it. If not, no big deal. But we will touch on it a little bit later on in the show. But first of all, thanks to all the fans. I mean, we keep climbing, so appreciate all the support, all the questions that are coming in for Nick. So should be a pretty fun episode, no?
Yeah, it should be good. It should be good. He's such a big piece of the team. As we've had tons of requests. Hey, you got to get Nick on. You got to get Nick on, and he's been pretty receptive. So I'm pretty excited about it. And like I said, man, the lineup's just been incredible. Every single week, it seems to get better, and we're getting more fans, more comments, and the only hate we've been getting so far is me and you holding the mic. So I think we're doing a pretty good job.
I think your mic looks good. I was joking around earlier. I was going to do the show like this.
Yeah, hey, yours looks really good there too, man. It's a nice mic.
But I don't understand the hatred. I was telling you, like my old man said it this morning. He's like, "Why do you guys hold your mics?" I was like, "What is the deal with holding mics? Like, is it that big of an issue?" But it must be.
Yeah, I don't get it, man. I don't get it. But the fact that people are hating on it, we're just going to continue to do it now. So that's a guarantee. Yeah, that's a guarantee now. I'm going to start holding it out here and everywhere.
Awesome. But before we get going, though, I just want to quickly say, get your merch at thehabstonight.net. Obviously, you're wearing the hat. I'm wearing the hat. You're wearing the shirt. And we're going to see if we can get some of these players some merch here, too, get the players repping some of the stuff. But go to habstonight.net to get your merch. But I think without further ado, I think we should bring Nick Suzuki onto the show from London, Ontario, drafted 13th overall in the 2017 NHL entry draft by Vegas, obviously traded to the Montreal Canadiens in that big deal a few summers ago. But let's welcome Nick to the show.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey, buddy. How we doing?
Doing well. Yeah, thanks for having me on, and I'll definitely need a hat or a shirt.
Hey, I love it. Hey, you're the first one that's asked for it, so we definitely got to get you some merch, man. I think it would look really sharp on you.
Sure, all the boys would wear them around the rink and stuff.
Oh, we'll have to get that going, buddy. How's summer been, man? You back on the ice, obviously. How long you been skating for?
Yeah, to be honest, I was only off the ice for like 2.5 weeks probably after the playoffs. I was just kind of itching to get back out there, and pretty much everyone was in midsummer training, so I felt like I needed to get back pretty fast.
How's the gym been? Like, how's the body feeling after a run like that? Kind of a weird year, really condensed schedule.
Yeah.
Weird off season last year. How's the body feeling this year?
Yeah, body feels good. I got a great physio guy here in London that I see every week, and yeah, you know what? It's been tough. It's like my program's way behind kind of everybody. So I'm still catching up, but yeah, lifting's been good. The skates have been great. So no complaints by me.
Yeah, I always wondered, like the farthest I went was a conference final. And when I came back the following year, that was literally the best I felt. And it was the least amount that I trained. So it was kind of a weird correlation. I'm interested to see when you get going this year, how it is. It's weird because where some guys, you don't make the playoffs in a regular season, you finish in April and you have all this off time, as opposed to you're playing like the top level game every single night for 2 months in the playoffs. I honestly think it just benefits you. Maybe, you're not as strong off ice, but your skating conditioning, just playing those games, it's just going to carry you forward. So I'm interested to see how that works out for you. What do you think? You agree with me or no?
Yeah, it's always nice to have a short summer. That means you did well the previous season. So I kind of had that experience when I played in junior, when we went to the Mem Cup, and it was real short before camp started. So I feel good on the ice, right, kind of back where I was. So still got a few weeks till camp. So just kind of ramping up until then.
Yeah, and I think normally you spoke with your junior too, so we always start the show with like kind of rewinding a bit. Obviously, like we said earlier, like you're born from London, Ontario. Didn't end up playing for the London Knights. You played for Owen Sound Attack before you moved on to Guelph. maybe just tell the fans a little bit about the junior days. Obviously, being a London kid, I imagine you probably wanted to play for the Knights at some point when you were younger. But maybe just talk about some of the junior career and a little bit about why you chose junior over, let's say, did you have like any NCAA offers or anything?
Yeah, like when I was in minor midget, there's a couple NCAA teams. My dad was into it more than me, but this Yale scout kept bugging my dad at the rinks, and my dad was kind of fired up about that just because it was Yale. But like junior was the path for me, like since I was young, especially having the Knights to watch every single year and all the talent that came through. So I was never really. I was kind of interested in college, but at the end of the day, I knew I wanted to play in the O.
Yeah, I saw an interesting stat today, and correct me if I'm wrong. You were drafted 13th overall in the OHL draft too, right?
14th.
14th. Okay, that's incredible. So 14th overall in the Ontario League draft and 13th in the NHL. That's outstanding. Absolutely incredible. You mentioned not going NCAA. I was going to ask you about growing up in London. You have a younger brother or older brother?
Yeah, younger. Yeah,
younger brother. Okay.
2 years. Yeah.
Oh, look at that. What a pick of the boys. Yeah. Look at the boys getting it going on the street. I love that.
London Free Press.
I was going to ask what it was like growing up with the brother and in such a hockey town like London. You just hear about the Knights all the time, pretty much an NHL franchise, the way they run it there. What was like growing up with your brother? Were you guys always really close? Like, did you battle a lot? What was it like?
Yeah, we were always really close. Growing up in London, it's a huge hockey city. Ton of pros come out of there. So we had a lot of great guys to look up to on the Knights, and then guys from London in the NHL. So like we always played road hockey, mini sticks. And then for us, both our junior Knights teams were like really, really, really good for junior Knights programs. So we both had a lot of success there. And it was great growing up together, and always a ton of hockey opportunities.
Amazing. And when we look at your stats in junior, pretty ridiculous stats. You come in your first year, you score 20 goals, and then immediately the next year, 45 goals, 96 points in 65 games. Coming from the Western League, I think the Western League is probably the best junior league, but no, I'm kidding. 96 points in 65 games is absolutely ridiculous. Coming into your draft year there, you had 20 goals the year before. Was the draft, obviously, you knew you were going to be probably a first round pick. Like, what was your thoughts coming into your draft year there?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I think I was rated like a B prospect near the start of the season. And, I thought I could just have a good year. We had a good team. We made it to the conference final and lost to the Otters, which was like pretty stacked team.
Who was on their team?
Sorelli, Strome, DeBrincat, Radish. They were a loaded. They were a loaded junior team. We had a really good run. Great line mates to play with. That draft year was definitely stressful with all the meeting the teams throughout the season. You're always trying to have your best game every night. But I thought I handled it pretty well mentally, which was kind of the biggest thing everyone told me, just to try to not worry about it too much and just have fun and go play it out there.
Right. So you started off as a B prospect. How quickly did that change? I mean, you had 45 goals and 96 points. Like there couldn't have been too many lulls in the season there. Like it must have been a pretty steady climb. At what point did probably becoming a first round pick kind of set in?
I wasn't really sure how the start of the season, and then I went to the top prospects game and just kind of to see where I was at with all the other junior players across the WHL and the Q and the O. So that was kind of like just to see where you are compared to all those guys. When I had a good playoffs that year too, and I felt really good going in. And then once the combine came around, had really good meetings with a lot of teams, and it sounded like I was going to be a first round pick. So yeah, that's kind of the point.
Obviously, you met with a ton of teams, like, and Vegas ended up taking you. But was Montreal kind of hinting around you then too?
Yeah, like I met with them at the combine, and yeah, I must have met with them during the season at some point. I can't really remember who everyone I met with, but I met with 28 teams at the combine out of 31. So I met with them there, and yeah, I think when I got traded, Berge said that he had me higher on the board than when I went. So that was kind of a nice feeling when I got that call.
Was there any crazy, like, you hear some of the crazy stories of some of those like combine meetings? What was like the craziest one for you? Any like really intimidating one or anything crazy?
You know what? I felt like I handled it really well. I never had like crazy meetings, but maybe the weirdest one was like New Jersey. They had the first overall pick, and they had like nobody in the room because everyone knew kind of who they were going to pick. So just met with like a mental coach, I think, and they just talked, and it was like all like mental questions, which is a lot weirder, but nothing really to do with my play. So yeah,
they just wanted to screw with you a little bit.
Yeah,
right?
and I think it was either like Anaheim or Nashville didn't have a pick till like the third round, and we are just kind of shooting the shit in the room. So like some of those meetings were different.
That's funny. I always wondered like the teams that don't have a pick in an early round, like what do they go like show up and just do? It's like, hey,
yeah, the one team asked like, what pick do we need to trade up to get you? I'm like, I don't know what you want me to say. Like
number one, actually.
Yeah. Might as well.
So you get to the draft day. Like we said, you're probably expecting to go in the first round. What was that like? Obviously sharing it with your brother, sharing it with your family. Talk to me about that moment.
Yeah, it was a unreal experience, especially getting picked by Vegas. Just a brand new franchise. No one really knew what to expect. They had 3 first-round picks, so I got to meet all the Brandy and Glasser there at the draft. So that was really cool to kind of experience that with the 3 of us taking photos and all that stuff backstage. So, but it was we were in Chicago, so great city to get drafted in. We had a ton of fun out there.
Oh, great city is right. Could have had a good after party there.
Yeah.
The funny thing is too about the Vegas, like they drafted you guys, Brandstrom, Glass, like you guys are all gone now. Everybody from that draft are all gone.
Yeah, it's weird, but that's just kind of how the trajectory that the Golden Knights ended up being in. So we'll see what Seattle does, but I'd be tough to copy that fully.
It's gonna be it's gonna be really, really hard to follow what they did. No judgments on their picks or anything, but it doesn't look like they're on that track. Just throwing it out there because maybe they got figured out. Maybe I'm wrong.
The Fleury brothers will be studs.
Hey, the Fleury brothers will be buzzing. We know that, though. That's for sure. So you get drafted by Vegas. Did they have a summer camp? Did you have to go there right after, or how'd it work?
Yeah, it was like 2 days after we were in the dev camp. The practice rink wasn't built. The game rink wasn't built. So like we had our camp at it looked like it had like a curling ice like just there, and now we're having NHL development camp on that ice. So it was fun though, like just getting to see the city. Like none of us had like really been there, and it was a good experience, and thankful that they ended up picking me and can end up in Montreal.
Did you think maybe that year you could crack the NHL? Did you think there was a chance?
Like I felt like I was playing pretty well at that camp, but you could kind of tell that they weren't really going to bring the young guys in. And then at camp, they had a lot of the guys that they picked to the draft show up and play really well. So they didn't really seem to need us young guys at that point.
Right. And then you go back to junior, another 40-goal season, 100 points. Man, just incredible numbers. Like, what are you thinking at this point? You go back to junior again, you're dominating. What's your thought process at this point? You're like, okay, this is my last year junior and I'm ready to play in the NHL next year. Where's your head at that point?
I don't know if I was there. that year I got cut from World Juniors, which was tough for sure. But then it kind of pushed me, and then when in the summer I felt really good. I thought I was going to have a shot, but then we were in Vegas for the playoff run, and they made it to the Stanley Cup Final. So we're like, oh, maybe we're not good enough for that team yet. So yeah, but it was really cool. We were black acing down there. The 3 first-round picks and Nick Hague and a couple other guys from the AHL team. So that was a lot of fun, and just to experience Vegas and then that playoff run against Winnipeg, we were there for all those games. So yeah, that was cool.
Right on. And then eventually the trade happens. Obviously, Pacioretty gets moved for you, Tatar, and I believe it was a pick, no? But eventually, what's your mindset after that? Like, obviously, you grew up in London, so either you or your family, at least, a Leafs fan. And then you get traded to Montreal, the big market, the media, the fan base. So what's your thought process when you get that phone call you've been traded?
Yeah, well, the story, like, I was at rookie camp and we just finished a game against San Jose, and I'm in the gym just like doing our standard cool down after camp. And the one guy, our player development guy, came up to me and said that the GM wanted to talk to me. So I kind of had like a feeling I was either really bad out there at that game or I was getting traded. So it's kind of, my mind was really racing, like, what team am I going to? Hadn't really heard anything from social media or anything, or my agent like that. But yeah, he ended up telling me that I was going to Montreal. And then it kind of took me a day to like settle down and just get really excited about the opportunity to play in Montreal. And my parents were actually in Vegas at that time. So that probably helped that I had some family in town for that.
Did you have any huge Leafs fans in your family, or were you guys kind of neutral with some teams?
Yeah, not the biggest Leafs fans. It was pretty easy for everyone to switch over to Montreal. No one was heartbroken that I got traded there. But yeah, just being an Ontario guy, they're always on TV in Ontario, so it's just pretty easy to watch them.
So I'll just touch on quickly. Like, your regular season numbers are incredible. But I love your playoff numbers, and just briefly, obviously me and you playing together, you just always seem like a guy that raises his game at the biggest moments. You look at your year in Owen Sound, 23 points in 17 games. Then the next year, man, you're over a point a game. And then finally your last year junior, 24 games, 16 goals, 42 points. That is absolutely ridiculous numbers in the playoffs. What is it about the playoffs for you that just kind of brings out the best for you? You're incredible in the regular season, but I can see it in you. When we were in the bubble, every single game there, you were getting stronger, and I could see, like, the moment doesn't phase you. You're almost embracing it. You have such a calm demeanor. And what is it about the playoffs that gets you fired up?
Yeah, I don't really know. It's just the opportunity you work all season for, and just to be in the playoffs. You want to get to that ultimate goal of winning the league championship. And it kind of, like, when I was in Guelph, we were down 3-0 to London, and we're like, oh God, like, we were a great team. We had a ton of guys drafted, a ton of guys signed. And then our head coach said to me and Ratcliffe, who are both from London, like, you guys don't want to end your junior career losing to the Knights. And then at that point, all the boys just kind of ramped it up, and we won 4 straight against them. And yeah, it's just from that point on in that junior run, I was really locked in and just playing some of the best hockey that I played up to that point. And then yeah, throughout the bubble, just kind of showing as a team that we could play with all these, like, Pittsburgh and the Flyers, and no one really, it wasn't like we felt like we were like a shit team coming into the bubble. Like, we could play with those guys, and a lot of people wrote us off right away, just like how they did against the Leafs. I love the list of, like, the Sportsnet saying that Leafs in 4, like
every single guy.
10s in 3 or whatever. So that gives a lot of motivation to me personally, for sure.
I love that. Let's take it back to your first year in Montreal. Coming into training camp again, what's your mindset there? Like, I know for me, I saw you on one day and I was like, holy smokes. I think I was talking to my dad. I was like, this kid's ready to play in the NHL right now. Like, this kid's a player. Like, what's your thoughts? Like, did you think, okay, I'm going to get a chance here? Or was it like, okay, now I'm ready to be here?
Yeah, you know what? I felt like I was ready to play. It was just I just needed that opportunity to show that I could play with all you guys. I thought, I was kind of sheltered the couple camps before, but this camp I just really wanted to prove that I could play against the big defensemen, some of the better players in the preseason. So I really came in just trying to earn any spot I could, whether that was on the wing or at center. So yeah, I just did everything I could to try to make that team.
And like you did start the season, I believe it was the fourth line with Nate Thompson was your center. I think you're on the right wing, taking some draws here and there. So when you finally find out you cracked the team, like was there any guys that like, took you under their wing, or like did Nate Thompson help you out? Because I saw some clips from the Montreal social media was him helping you guys out with faceoffs and stuff. So was Nate Thompson one of those guys for you?
Yeah, Nate was awesome, especially for me, just getting to play with him for probably 20 games there. Just great to learn off of. He's an unbelievable guy and was very welcoming to me right away. And yeah, him, even Domes and Philly Danault. So I had a lot of great guys to look up to that first year. And everyone was a big help to me for sure.
You mentioned Phil, to me, one of the premier defensive centers in the league. I see you as obviously a little more of a two-way. You got a lot more offense to your game, but what did you learn from him just defensively and he's just what he does and obviously how huge he was in this run this year?
Yeah, he's a very smart player. He's always on the right side of the puck. His stick positioning, his stick work, he'll tip every pass, especially on the PK. Like he's the best in the middle of the ice there, deflecting, just getting any piece of his body or stick on the puck for a seam pass helps out on the PK so much. And he just always seems like he's in the right spot. And definitely underrated. I think he's underrated offensively. He sees the ice really well, makes all the plays. So he's a great guy to learn off of, and definitely a friend I keep in touch with for sure.
Yeah, and obviously he goes over to LA, gets that the big contract. He said he's got paid, so great for Phil. And it seems like a lot of guys, like Paling's brought him up, Evans has brought him up, how Phil like helps everybody out. So I'm just happy you guys got to see some of that defensive side as well, because Dale and I were joking around last week before the big news that dropped yesterday. Like Montreal center core, like Jake's the oldest one at 25.
Yeah,
like you're 22, KK's 21, Paling's 21 or 22.
We've all talked about that before, but yeah, we're all confident in ourselves. I don't feel like we're not going to back down from any of the older centers. So Jake will lead the way. Veteran presence out there.
You talk about Cole's obviously not a center, but just a young core. I know when I was there, obviously you and Jake and guys like that are obviously really, really tight. Like speak about the young core and just how close all you guys are. Obviously, it looked like you and Cole are obviously pretty good buddies, just from what the media shows. So speak that.
Yeah, all the young guys love being around each other. We're always looking to eat dinner together or go down at the same time for breakfast on the road. Like we're always just trying to hang out with each other as much as possible and help each other out. And we have a great group. Bringing Cole in was a big boost. He's a hilarious kid and a ton of fun to be around, and even better hockey player. So it was a great addition to the core that we have.
Well, like obviously that goal against Toronto, I think that was game 5. And you guys obviously showed instant chemistry, and a lot of people always thought Cole was like just a shooter. So when you guys were going down on that 2-0, were you thinking he's shooting as soon as he got it, or what?
No, like I was just racing to make it a 2-0, and sometimes 2-0 is even harder than like a breakaway, like because there just might be too many options to do. But I was on my one timer. It would have been a little harder for him to shoot that off his forehand there, but maybe Campbell thought that Cole was going to rip it. But yeah, like even the last game of this regular season, he's got a shot and pretty much in the slot, and then he dishes it backdoor to me for a little tap inside the net. So his playmaking ability is right up there with his shot too. So I knew that right away coming when he joined the team.
I was going to ask quickly, Dale, the shot. I mean, everybody's been drooling over like, how is it like in person? Is it obviously that good? Because we saw him in college, he light it up. Anywhere he goes, he seems to light it up. So like, is the shot that incredible?
Yeah, like his first practice with the team, it's like all the guys are like just watching this guy skate down the ice and shoot. Like for how big he is, you don't expect that to come off his stick. So he just seems to know where to place the puck. He's always picking the right spot, and then his one timer is great too. So he really practices it hard. We're always shooting extra pucks after practice, so he's always working on it.
I was talking to Jake about this last week, and excuse me, he came up, obviously, whatever was the last 2 months before we got shut down in 2020 there. You had probably 5 or 6 months to kind of live the NHL when it was normal, when you could go out and do things, as opposed to this year. How tough was that grind this year? Not being able to go out for dinners, stuck in the hotel. How was that grind?
It was hard. Like, well, I've only had 2 seasons to compare it to, but just like it was much harder on the body and like mentally. Just like getting Uber Eats like all the time, like on the road, even at home. Like you're not going out to any city, experiencing anything really. And just playing in the North Division was hard. Like there's a ton of good teams, a lot of good players, and you had to really be on the ball every single night. And when we weren't, we got exposed. So yeah, it was a grind for sure. With especially when we had that week off with the COVID break, and then we had to shorten our games to the same amount of days. So it got pretty difficult.
Because we always joke too, how compressed that schedule was on you guys, and we were just covering the team, and we were just so gassed, and we're like, how are these guys doing this 4 games a week for like the last 2 months? Like you guys didn't have 2 days off in a row the last, I don't know, 40 some days. So like you guys obviously roller coaster year. Burge makes some great additions, brings in some great guys, and then obviously there's a roller coaster. But like maybe talk about like how the schedule was and like playing against just the Canadian teams.
Yeah, like the experience right at the start of the season, we went on the Western road trip there, and we were just like dominating. It felt like we were one of the best teams in the league, and then we kind of got put in our place, and we're really up and down all season. You could see some of the games that we were awesome. Just everyone's playing, or all the lines are going, and then sometimes like we just have a stinker and then be down and lose a few games in a row. So that was tough mentally. But you just knew you're going to play pretty much every other day. So it was kind of like a playoff. It was like a 3-month playoff run for us. So it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that was wild. Let's talk about Dom Ducharme. What kind of influence has he had on you?
He was great ever since he got the head coach job. He was the head coach at the World Junior team. That cut me, actually. We've talked about that a little bit, but
did you give it to him for that?
Yeah, a little bit. Same with Joel Bouchard was the GM of that team too. So both of them cut me. So we've joked about that a little bit. But yeah, Dom's a great coach. He really relates to the players well. He's like always talking to Webby, like, what do the boys want to do? Like, how you guys feeling? Just if we needed to stay off the ice, it wasn't a problem. So he was great for that. And he's just brought a different mentality of things to focus on, like the stuff you guys would learn with Joel, teaching just little things that go such a long way. So Yeah, he's really brought a kind of a new look to our game.
I was quickly going to ask too, because Nick just brought this up to me. Was we never really asked about this? But Luke Richardson stepping in there in playoffs, like how was that in the room? Like, what were you guys thinking? Obviously, Ducharme gets under the COVID protocols or whatever, and then Richardson stepping up right in the middle of playoffs.
Yeah, he did it. He did a great job. Especially like I knew our decor were happy for him to try to just get a little taste of being the head coach, and yeah, he was like kind of running the forward lines, which he's never done before. So that was kind of a little bit of a new area for him. So, but he did a good job stepping in. Probably as good as he could have done.
Let's jump into the Toronto series. Obviously, I didn't know you had experience coming down from such a deficit, but let's talk 3-1. We talked to Gally a little bit about it. We talked to Jakey about it. I want to get your thoughts. Obviously, everybody still believed you're in that series. You go down 3-1. What's your thoughts at that point?
Yeah, like we won that first game, and then we're kind of riding high, and then we lost in Toronto, which was whatever. Like you're still tied going home, and then we lost 2 games at home, which is never a good thing. But we did have a little bit of time, and just like older guys spoke up in the room, like you don't get this opportunity every year. Some of them are getting up there in age and don't know how long they're going to play. So we really, as a team, needed to step up and play better to just keep our season alive. And we're up big in that game 5, let them all the way back in to bring it to overtime. And it was pretty tense, not gonna lie, like in the room before. Like I don't think anyone said like anything. Like
no, for sure.
And then all of a sudden, like me and Cole get a 2-0, like a minute, whatever you're in. And,
it was so
we're sending it back. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, like just a ton of energy came in the group, just having a lot of fun.
Yeah, what was it like getting the crowd back in Montreal after playing all year with barely any fans? Finally, you get some crowd back at the Bell Center. What was that like?
Yeah, like just experiencing that. Like I don't know how we played without anybody in the rink. Like I was saying, like I was telling people, it was, oh yeah, it's okay. Like we don't have any fans, but like it's still the same game. Like, but once everyone was back in, I was probably the fastest I've ever skated. Like in a game, like I was in warm-ups, I'm looking around, like all the people are cheering, and I was just buzzing the whole warm-up and went right into the game, which I'm sure everyone else was. Like just experiencing that with no fans for a year and a half, and then getting a bunch of crazy Montreal fans cheering us on was awesome.
Was it a big adjustment going down to Vegas when you guys got there with their like full barn and a loud barn at that?
Yeah, it was. Like we were talking about it as players. Just you would kind of forget like how it is. Like I'm sure Montreal would have been louder with a full barn, but like the Vegas like stereo system, like the fans, it's like you vibrate on the bench. But yeah, it's definitely, it was intimidating at first. Then I think we're playing really well, so we settled down.
Yeah, I think definitely. I mean, you got a chance to see the Bell Center full playing in front of it. But the playoffs is just it's another level. It's a complete another level, man. And
that's what everyone tells me.
Like I've been in Chicago, like New York, like the loudest ones, man. Montreal is the loudest one. So
yeah,
I can't wait for you guys to get there this year and really, really experience it, because that'll be wild. Let's go with that Vegas series. Let's talk about minute left. Marc-Andre Fleury's got the puck behind his net, turns it over. Josh Anderson grabs it. Boom. Like, what are you thinking on the bench when that happens? I know as a fan, I was watching this. I was like, there's no way that just happened.
Like, I just came off the ice. I was gassed. Like, I bent over on the bench, and all of a sudden, like, everyone's like cheering. Like, when I came off, we didn't have the puck. So I was like, I had no idea what happened. And then, Andy puts it in the net. Just a freebie. It was, especially with like the fans like chanting at Fleury and all the stuff about, he might not even play. I don't know. All that stuff was crazy.
Yeah, that was madness.
That series was hilarious too, because Leonard comes out, obviously says the thing about Caufield, and then Caufield just comes down like the next game right away. Like, it was just fantastic.
If there's someone that you're chirping about not scoring on you, like Cole's probably not the best guy.
That's not a
he was pretty dialed in when he came up to me one day we weren't skating. He's like, "Do you see what Leonard said?" Like, I was like, "Yeah, I did." Like, we'll find a way to get you a goal. So
yeah, I did it. That was nice too. Really, nice.
That was a pretty nice one.
Man, what a series that was. Again, it was just incredible to watch you guys as just be the underdog, like the like ultimate underdog in every single series. Even the Winnipeg series, people were like, "Wow, they beat Toronto. Toronto always chokes," and it's like, that was like absolute steamrolling. Like, walk me through that series.
Yeah, like when we played Winnipeg I felt like we played Winnipeg really well throughout the whole regular season, and then all of a sudden we were playing them, and like it was like we sucked against them like all year. But like even that first game, we came out flying. Like they had a week off. I know that must be pretty hard, but like we just kind of dominated them the whole time. And then with the Scheifele thing, a big loss for them, but so sometimes that happens in the playoffs, and you got to play without your best players.
Yeah, like you guys came out and absolutely stomped him in game one, and then that happens. Obviously, that just kind of adds another chip on the shoulder, right? Like,
come on. we were pretty pissed off.
Yeah,
and then everyone by that time that's probably our best stretch of the year. Just 1-3 against Toronto, 4 against them. Everyone was feeling really good, and it's just like we could kind of do no wrong, and bounces were just kind of going our way through that series as well.
And I kind of want to get your thoughts. Dale's been a part of this on the Habs as well. As you guys are the underdog every time, and then you have Carey Price being Carey Price in the playoffs. What's that like playing in front of him when he's doing that stuff? Because we had to defend him at some points this year, which was insanity.
I don't get it. Like, even I'm seeing these rankings on like social media about like all the best goaltenders in the league, and like Pricey's outside the top 10. I'm like, what is going on? Like, I have no idea what people are thinking. Like, this guy does it every single year, and you still rip on him. So
I know. It's crazy. We defended him all year, and
like he's making big saves every game, but people just kind of like maybe just expect him to stop everything, and then I don't know. Yeah, it's weird.
It's crazy, man. I love that you said that, because I love looking at the rankings, and I see him all the time, and he's like, it's not even in the top. He's not even in the top 15, and this guy's got him. It's like, oh, he's finished. It's just crazy to me. One question I wanted to ask you. I didn't want to forget this one. I popped in my head now. I asked Jake last week. What's it like? Webby takes the 4-minute penalty. You guys are sitting in there before overtime in the finals against Tampa. Like, what's going on in your head at that moment? Like, I know how much that guy means to everybody. What were you feeling in that moment?
Yeah, it was definitely pretty nerve-wracking, especially we could lose the Stanley Cup on home ice, and our captain's in the box, which is just an unfortunate play. It just kind of happens. But we were really dialed in the dressing room after the third. And I was out on the PK, and I just wanted to like do anything I could to kill off that penalty. And luckily we did, and then got the big game winner later. So it's definitely a big kill. Everyone wanted to do that for Webby. We didn't want that to end our season. So yeah.
So what are your thoughts though? Like, you're in overtime and you're going, like, we joked around with Evans, like, that is the worst power play to go up against in overtime.
Yeah, I know. Like, they had a lot of good chances too, and Pricey really shut the door. I think I messed up on one of our kind of coverages, and they have dangerous players all over the ice. So you never know where the puck's going, and Pricey really bailed us out.
So you play in your first Stanley Cup final. Does it just make you that much more hungry to get back there now that you've been there and know that you were literally that close?
yeah, like just experiencing on the other end of just losing the finals. You can see all of us like on a knee. Like I could hardly watch like them celebrate on the ice, and just seeing some of the older guys, like a lot of those guys have never made it that far. And for me to experience that as a young guy, just makes me want to get back there as quick as possible. I'm even after the game, I just got undressed and just snuck out onto the bench to kind of watch them like carry around the cup, just to give myself a little motivation to get back in the summer and get back to that point. So it's a tough pill to swallow. Just we were so close, and such a great group of guys. Like wouldn't have rather anybody else on that team. It was really a lot of fun.
For sure. And then also, obviously, Weber's not come back this year. We usually ask all these guys because, like we said, we've been defending guys you shouldn't have to defend on this channel. But like, maybe talk about like Weber. What you've learned from him and his leadership, either on or off the ice.
Yeah, Webby's been an amazing guy to learn from and get to know. He's just pretty much the ultimate teammate, and someone I've looked up to ever since I got to the team, and just get to see him every day of how hard he works, how he interacts with the trainers, the coaches, like literally everyone in the organization. He's just a first class guy, and the best captain to learn off of for sure.
Before we get into a couple fan questions here, I just got to get your opinion. Obviously, let's talk about KK here, just really quickly. I want to know your opinion. Obviously, how did you find out, and then your opinion on it?
Yeah, I was actually at the golf course with my brother and parents and grandparents, and Evie actually texted me and said, "Oh my God, look at Twitter." I'm like, "Oh geez,
no.
what just happened?" I was like, "Oh, did we make like a trade or something?" And then I saw that KK got an offer sheet. So like, like offer sheets are part of the business. Every RFA is up for grabs, kind of just in that way. Yeah, it's a great deal for him and his family. It's a lot of money, and hopefully the Habs can work out a way, because I know the players, we don't want to lose KK, and I'm sure management doesn't either. So hopefully we can find out a way to get him back on the team.
For sure. And hopefully Montreal does too. And I know some fans have been starting to kick tires around this question too. It's not necessarily KK, but we saw you and Drew get a bunch of chemistry there in the bubble when Dale was still with the team, and then a little bit this year as well. So obviously we know Drouin's going to be back for camp. He was at the golf tournament this week, looked pretty healthy. So maybe like, talk about Drouin and how the impact he has of being on the team.
Yeah, Drew's awesome. We sit beside each other on the plane, play cards with each other. I was texting with him the other day. So it sounds like he's really excited to get camp going. He's doing a lot better, and yeah, he's a ton of fun to play with. Brings a lot to our team, and yeah, I'm really hoping he can get back there. I know he said he's feeling really good, skating a lot. And I think Andy's living with them right now too. So I'm sure they're having fun training together.
Nice. Yeah, Brando, fire away on some of those fan questions we got here. We won't keep you much longer, Nick.
Okay, so this is a popular one. Everybody's been asking. I'm sure you've seen kind of some of the social media get kind of hint at it, but like, who are your favorite players growing up? Any players you modeled your game after? And this guy was personally wondering if Datsyuk or Bergeron were the players you watched.
Yeah, those are two big guys. I love Datsyuk growing up. One of my first NHL games was in Detroit, watching him. So I was a huge fan of him. Same with Bergeron. I love the way he plays, and getting to play against him is a ton of fun, just to see how he is on the ice in person. And then I was a big Sidney Crosby guy. Just does everything the right way, and has ever and playing him in the playoffs was cool too. So those three guys were always big for me.
We also have some of the some random ones are just like, what NHL players do you train with in the summer, if any, and what is it like being in the city of Montreal as the Ontario guy? That some people think is a big adjustment. Obviously, Ontario people, Toronto Maple Leafs is synonymous, but like Montreal, like, do you enjoy the city and all that stuff? That's one of the other questions we had.
Yeah, with Montreal, I love the city. Ever since I got there, it's been like a second home to me. And just like the restaurants, the people, just walking downtown, like, hey, like, big fan, like all that stuff. Really, just you can see the passion that the fans have for all the players in the team. So it's a ton of fun playing there. And I think I'm just starting to experience what it's like getting back to normal. And my first year was a ton of fun with all the crowds. And hopefully next year we'll have the exact same thing. And then for the guys I train with, in the gym, I'm with like Boone Jenner, Jordan Kyrou, my brother, Dylan Cousins played in Buffalo. But then on the ice, like Bo Horvat's usually with us, but he's been training at home. But on the ice, it's like Bo, like Doughty comes out, pairs I'm supposed to skate with, and Logan Couture. So we got a great group around London, and we all try to skate together as much as possible.
Yeah, that's a pretty elite group there, buddy. Holy smokes. She has some pretty good skates there.
Yeah, they are good.
Yeah, so we're a couple weeks away from training camp. What's your thoughts coming into this year? Obviously I felt like you really took a step last year to kind of cement yourself as a really, really, really top end guy. Where do you see yourself going? I'm not asking for predictions. I hate when people ask people for point predictions, but what are you most looking forward to this year? And some of the new additions, what are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to camp. Again, Berge made a lot of great additions to the roster. Lost some good players, but added some great talent too. Hoffman should be fun to play with. Savard back there, he was really tough to play against in the playoffs. So going to be nice to have him on the team. So yeah, I'm excited. Don't really know all the lines and stuff like that for you guys, but I'm sure we'll
dissect it. We'll dissect it on social media for sure. Social media seems to know more than anybody.
Yeah, it'll be exciting. Got a new coach, Latowski, great guy. And then Adam Douglas is our new sports science guy. We worked with him too. So
nice.
know a few of the new guys coming in on the staff and management side.
Beautiful.
Speaking of that stuff, I also have just one more question too, because we found with Poehling and Evans, a lot of people don't know like the mental grind of the NHL and stuff. And we had one more fan question that was, how do the young athletes draw on the not so great experiences and use it as fuel instead of letting it sidetrack you and stuff like that, especially in the NHL where we know, we've said this before, all you guys are great hockey players. It's the other stuff outside of the rink or off the ice per se that makes you guys these consistent everyday NHL players.
Yeah, that's a great question. Like throughout even this season, there was a time I was like just going through like a really dry spell. Like it just felt like I was playing the games, but like I wasn't really doing that much. And like I was just, I don't know, it was all in my head. I could hardly like play hockey how I was before at the start of the season for some reason. And yeah, it's just having the confidence to go out there every night and, you can play with all these guys. And just for me, just like I was reading the play and then it would just not turn out how I was reading it. And then that was would like bug me a bit. And then I just thought I was like Dom always said that I just try to overthink the game, which is true. And I just have to go out there and play. So yeah, it's tough for young guys. Like my confidence was pretty low during that midpoint. But then, if you find a goal, you can just take off. And that's kind of how I felt going this last third of the season and into the playoffs felt good. So hopefully I can keep that for this regular season coming up.
Awesome, man. I'll ask you the same last question that I normally ask everybody. Just a quick message to the Habs fans that are watching.
Yeah, just thanks for all the support throughout our whole run. I could feel all the energy from the city, and leaving and coming to the games. It was a ton of fun to see all the fans waiting for us outside when we entered the building and we're leaving. So I think we'll have another great year. The future is going to be really bright for this team, and hopefully I can be a part of that for a long time. So really excited.
Awesome, buddy. Hey, man, I really, really appreciate you doing this. I know fans are going to love this, so I appreciate you doing this.
Yeah,
and
thanks for having me on.
Brando, I'll send it to you, buddy.
I just wanted to say thanks for jumping on the show. Appreciate it. Like we said, we'll get some merch out to you. We'll get Dale to get in connection with you, and
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Play some stuff too. But no, just appreciate your time. Good luck this season, and thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks,
guys.
See you, dude.
See ya.
Oh, that was good. Yeah. That was good, man. There's just like, I look at the time and I didn't realize it's 52 minutes. I don't normally like to keep guys past 40, but there's just so much you can talk to him about. Like he, at 22 years old, like he's done so much already. And, he's such an incredible kid. You see the way he talks, just his demeanor, like you can just see why he's special. When, like I said, when you get in those big moments, it just wouldn't faze him, and I could see that in the playoffs, in the bubble. And, when you see it this year in the playoff run, like in those big moments, why he's scoring OT winners, like the moment just never gets too big for him. And a lot of guys struggle with that. And, that's what makes him really special.
Yeah. I kind of feel bad for the opposing teams, because when he said, like, after they lost the cup, he got undressed and went back to the bench to watch, that's going to be some nightmare fuel.
What a savage, eh? Holy smokes. That's such a great comment, man. I love that. I wish the cameras had that or something. So
that'd be cool.
When they make it back to the cup final next year, you'll have the clip of him sitting on the bench, and that'd be unbelievable, right?
Oh, for sure. And Jake said it too. Like some fans picked up on this, was Jake can what's the word? Like inferred or associated with Nick as being like top dog. Nick said just quote unquote like top dog. That's what he sees him as. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I forget what too. We're gonna ask him about the Cooper handshake line.
Oh,
we forgot all about it.
But I mean, there's just so many things you could talk to this guy about, man. There's so many avenues we could have went down. That we could have kept him here all day. But the Cooper handshake line, I know when I talked to him about it right after, I sent him a message like immediately after I saw it, and I was like, wow, like you have so much swagger. I love it. I absolutely love the confidence. And long story short, I think they had the recording from before and he didn't say it like that. So they kind of played around with it a little bit, but either way, it was swagger and I loved it.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to like the guy because he's talented offensively and defensively. Like you said during the interview, like the two-way play of this guy is just incredible. And for how young he is, it bodes well for Habs fans if Carolina doesn't offer shoot him.
Well, we'll touch on that in 2 seconds, but let's just talk on quickly. When he talks about a guy like Bergeron, and that's everyone has compared him to, and Claude coached Bergeron, and he's making these comparisons and saying the same thing. And you look at his numbers, like he had 41 points his rookie year, and he played 25 games on a fourth line. Like that is something I didn't realize. I didn't know how many points he had, but I didn't realize he had 41 points in 71 games as a rookie. That's incredible. And then he follows it up this year with 41 in 56 games.
And like you said, he had a little dry spell there for a bit.
And he had a dry spell, and there was some some ups and downs like anybody has in their season. But you have 41 points in 56 games as a 21-year-old kid. That's outstanding, especially the way he plays the game. He's not cheating offensively. This guy is on the penalty kill. He takes key draws. Like he does everything. So it just bodes so well. He's going to be an absolutely incredible player for so long. I don't think he's going to be a guy that Montreal is going to let get to restricted free agency without a nice big deal. So he's earned it already. Whatever it is, he'll be underpaid because he's that good of a player.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the thing too. Like, you got to think in Berge's mind. He's thinking this year, let's lock up Nick long term for a little bit lower AAV than if you let him go into the summer, especially if he has a great year.
Mm-hmm. And he's going to. He's going. He's gonna have a huge year. He's motivated. Yeah, that's going to cost you. I think you're better off to do it sooner than later, because the more he plays this year, the more the price tag goes up.
Exactly, too. So you got to learn. Obviously, you're not going to get a Nate McKinnon kind of deal for him, because that one's just absolutely insanity. But you got to go somewhere now where it's going to look a little steep at the start, but in a few years, it's going to be one of those ones that's a steal. But
absolutely. And he's going to be your number one center. He's your number one center, so he's going to get paid like it. Rightfully so. And
some people are saying future captaincy caliber, the way he is off the ice and on the ice. This is obviously, I think it's going to be Galley whenever Weber either retires or if they say he's done for good. But I think obviously if Weber's not playing anymore, depending if he comes back next year or not, we don't know. Obviously it's going to be Galley's, you think. But then after that, you got to think Suzuki's one of those guys, just from hearing what everybody says about him.
Oh, 100%, man. He's I don't even think it's overstepping to say that he could be a guy, if you decide Weber's not coming back like right now, to give it to him. That's how big of an impact he can have in that locker room. He just has that, just that subtle confidence. And he's just a guy that does the right things, plays the right way. He takes care of himself the right way. He lives the right way. He's just one of those guys. And Jake said it, last week, as a 22-year-old kid, he has that presence though. It's not like, you're going to have guys come in and at 30 years old and say, wow, this guy can't, you don't respect him. Like, he has that presence about him, 22, 23, 24, whatever it is, that he could be a captain of a team. And I wouldn't have any issues with that whatsoever.
Yeah, no doubt. But I think before we get going too long here, we got to address the elephant in the room. Nick touched on it quickly. Obviously, you guys have been there, not offer sheet per se, but you've been a player, and obviously it's a business. I texted you this morning, and I was like, this is not accusing Berge of anything, but it's like GMs have no problem disposing of guys as soon as they're not useful to them. So the players do have to look out for themselves. And as a Montreal fan, I know some people are harping on the offer sheet, the signing, and all this stuff too, but like we've always brought up in the show, there's a personal side of this where obviously Keike's had a rough time this summer with his old man with the diagnosis and stuff too. So that's got to be in the back of his mind. He's like, I got to take 6.1. Like, it's guaranteed money if you sign that right now. And it's a league. I'll look out for yourself too.
The quicker you realize that you're just an absolute piece of meat in this business, the better off you are. So you don't really let emotions get in the way of, wanting to stay with a certain team, stay in a certain situation, and getting what's coming to you. Speaking from a player's perspective, as a teammate, I would have absolutely no issue with this whatsoever. Good on him. Take it while you can get it. I think it's hilarious. Like, I read social media and I'm reading people saying, well, how could he sign this? How could you do this? Like, you're telling me if someone walks up to you and says, you can have $6 million right here for 1 year, when realistically he was probably going to make $3 million next year, maybe a little more, maybe less. Like, I think a bridge deal for him would have been 2 years, $6 million. And you're like, okay, prove it, and then I can sign you. And now you're getting $6 million, and you're upset with the kid. It's 21 years old. Like, I think it's a great play. I absolutely love it. And I love it on all aspects. I love the Carolina GM coming out and saying exactly what Berge did. I love the Carolina owner starting to show people, like, look, we're not a low budget team anymore. I honestly think that's the play. I don't think that they really expected to get Jesperi with that deal. I really don't. I think they figured, we're going to handcuff you. We're going to put you, close to the cap again. And, we're going to overpay a guy that you've kind of shit on for the last 2 years since he's been there. You can't argue it. And we've talked about it during the year that he's been the whipping boy there.
Yep. And I think what I like about this too, I think maybe I'm just reading too much into it, is maybe KK knows Montreal is going to match because let's be honest, the compensation, I know everybody's talking about the compensation flipping for Eichel or whatever. Eichel still hasn't had a surgery. Camp starts in 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So that's iffy. And it's a surgery that no other NHL players had before. So there's another question mark.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got to think too, everybody's saying 6.1 million is a lot. Yeah, it's for the 1 year. Weber's money comes off the books. Bayern's money comes off the books.
Mm-hmm.
But you also, in my mind, like I'm thinking KK's betting on himself here. Because if he thinks Bergevin matches that, he knows he's going to get 2C role, have some steady wingers, maybe some more PP time, or maybe a different PP role.
Yeah.
I think maybe it's KK betting on himself too, because why not? I mean, you're guaranteed 6.1 million. If I'm Berge, it doesn't screw you necessarily. You might not be able to add another piece, but you can afford to give that to KK. And then everybody's saying the qualifying offer next year has to be this like 6.1 or higher.
Mm-hmm.
But they can extend that over a few years and kind of lower that AAV down. So what some people are forgetting. And if let's say KK doesn't take those strides you're thinking, then you just don't qualify him next year. You walk away. And I hate saying that because I'm a big KK guy. But I mean, for a guy that just turned 21 and the talent he has, and he's kind of progressing. I know he's not progressing as some fans want, but I mean, the guy is still so young.
And the way I look at it, if he comes in and plays awesome as a number 2 center and say he has close to 20 goals and 45 points, like that's a $6 million center now. Like, I'm sorry. Like,
he gets 50 points. He's good. He had 32 in his rookie year.
Yeah. Like you come in and score 50 points and you're making $6 million as my number 2 center. I'm happy. I'm thinking that's a hell of a deal. And I'm happy about it. And I think he can do that. Again, I think he 100% is betting on himself. He's like, 6 million, I'll take it. Thank you. No, regardless of where I go, I'm making $6 million. And he has to. And it might put you in a tough situation for that second year, but I don't think anybody's thinking about that. I think he's thinking, let me come in here and rip it up this year. And heck, hey, he comes in and puts up 55. Maybe he has a huge year. Then you're paying him more than that. So you can't get a number 2 center on the market. He's not coming to Montreal. If you think you're signing an elite center, he's not coming to Montreal. So I think you got to take your chances. I don't think there's any way they walk away from it.
No, because we've already talked about the center position. Obviously, Suzuki's 1C, expecting KK to be 2. Yeah. Evans, Paling, Paquette, pick 2 of the 3. You know what I mean? And so if you lose KK, you are very thin down the middle.
Right.
And you can afford it. So it's almost like, you know what? Let's bet on him. I mean, you draft him 3rd overall. Show the faith in him.
Right. And even at the draft, like go back to when he was drafted, like that was a gamble for Berge. Like you put your money in on him. You've kind of rode him a little bit, but now it's time to put your money where your mouth is. Pay him and bet on the kid that you already did. And I hope they do. And I expect him to have a big year. I've always been the biggest KK supporter over the last couple of years when people are shitting on him. I can see the talent. You can see the potential. And sometimes some guys take a little longer than other guys. I think a lot of people try to compare him to Nick, and it's like there's very few guys that can come in and play the way Nick has played and be the type of personality he is and handle the spotlight. And it's like that's very, very difficult. And a lot of guys are not in that headspace. And I really, really am interested to see what happens here.
I want to get your opinion on this too, Dale.
That was unbelievable, that lady. Oh, man. So I was
2 questions. Do you guys talk about that like in the room? Like, do the players know about this? Like that lady freaking out at the draft?
Oh, for sure. That was one of like the first things that I said to him when I first met him. I was like, we joked about that a little bit and stuff like that. The players see that for sure. Like, that's just it's hilarious. I totally forgot about that till right now.
I had another question too, because I know fans are going to eat KK up regardless if he stays, if he goes. But I mean, it's insane how fast the fan base can sour on a guy. But my question to you, Dale, was what's that do in the dressing room? I mean, some fans think it's going to create a side thing, but like I think you guys are mostly on the same page. Like, get the money while you can, because nothing's guaranteed in an athletic career, essentially.
Yeah, I think that's what people might mistake, that players have an issue. It's like, well, you took too much. We're trying to win here. Like, no, I'm sorry. That doesn't happen in the locker room. Everyone's happy for the other guy that he's getting paid. I want you to get paid. I want to get paid. I want you to get paid. Like, that he would come in and people would be handshaking. I'm like, congrats, buddy. Good for you. Like, you know, I know I've played with plenty of guys that were wanting to get offer sheeted. Like, please, someone give me an offer sheet. You know, like I've played with plenty of guys, and you know, everyone laughed about it and joked about it. Like in the room, it's not seen as anything. You sign with the Montreal Canadiens, he signs his $6.1 million. Boom, Montreal offers it. It's like nothing happened. You're making $6 million. Dinner's on you next time, buddy. But you know that's as far as the conversation goes. And you know, I saw the hate today too on the kid. Well, you shouldn't have took this. Come on, let's be real here. If anybody offered you $6 million, you're taking it. You're taking it. There's not one player in the whole league that isn't signing that. There's not one.
No, and
that's in that situation.
No, 100%. And I'm curious too, because we only hear offer sheets once the players sign them. Is there like tons of offer sheets flying around that just never get signed?
I don't think so. I don't think so, to be honest with you, man. I honestly think that like that is a good bargaining chip for restricted free agents. Like your agent's bargaining other teams to be like, hey, offer him, he'll sign it. Offer him, put the pressure on him. They don't want to sign him, offer him, put the pressure on him. But I literally think it's like the old boys club. Like you just don't want to ruffle feathers as a GM, and Burge did that. And I think, you know, from everything that I've read on Carolina's owner, very prideful guy. And I think he didn't like that. And I think it was his turn to take a swing where he knew it could hurt him. And I just, the combination is so good. The money, the guy 20. That it is, the signing bonus, like it's so good. I think it's just hilarious. I think it's awesome. As a fan standpoint, I love it. If I was an owner or a GM, I would probably have done the same thing. Like, you want to screw me? I'm going to get you. It's going to come back to you.
So I wonder, does this keep going on for years, or is this going to be like
does Montreal go back?
I screwed you, you screwed me.
Yeah, maybe it's 1 for 1, eye for an eye, and then they're good. See what happens.
Yeah. But what else was I going to say? Obviously, our subscriptions keep going up, which is awesome. I'm just trying to do some like house cleaning here with some of the news. I know I think Cans is back Thursday. Yes. Unless I'm on baby watch right now. So I got 2 weeks till due date. So I'm on baby watch. So I don't know. I think we're playing on Thursday for Cans. And I know some of the teams starting to get back into the swing of things here. We got camp starting up in a few weeks. So a bunch of stuff happening on the channel. I know we're going to still try to hammer out some interviews here too.
Absolutely. I've been waiting on a response from Cole. So he would be my next guy in line that I'd really, really like to get in. So the guy's got a ton of followers on Instagram. So I don't know if I go to the general inbox or if I'm in the the folder where he doesn't check. So we'll see.
One,
we'll see. We'll see. But we want to keep hammering them out. We want to keep hammering them out because these last few have just been awesome. I know that everyone's getting excited and we get current guys. I know I said I think I want to extend a line out to Phil. I'd love to have Phil come on and chat about his time in Montreal. That would be awesome. I'd love to hear his thoughts and. Yeah, we'll see what we can do with some of the other guys.
For sure. And also, we know back to school is coming. So, and Nick just remind me quickly, Habs Night Back to School Backpacks, champion brand, pretty sick. Get those at habsnight.net. All your official Habs Night merch. Obviously, we're going to send some stuff to Nick. Maybe he can get the boys wearing some stuff around. That'd be pretty cool. We do want to be the channel for the Montreal Canadiens fans. So.
Absolutely. And the season's right around the corner. So I'm getting excited. We're going to have lots to chat about. We'll talk about some line combinations. Hey man, I'm excited. People should be getting fired up. The weather's starting to get a little chillier here in Sweden. So we're on similar level as Canada. So I'm sure the weather's getting a little colder in Montreal. It's just about hockey season. So get excited.
Yeah, we'll be fine. And like we said, we got tons of stuff coming. I know all of our shows will be coming back. To the league, all the pre-games, post-games, Crushin Cans come back. I think we're doing a little bit of fantasy football and maybe fantasy hockey, depending, this Thursday. But it should be fun. All the stuff's coming back, and just appreciate everybody tuning in. Another great interview on a Sunday, Dale. We know this is pre-recorded, so everybody that's lighting us up about our microphones in the chat, we are not live.
I am fast asleep by the time you were watching this, so whoever's hating on the mic, man, my mic's down, so don't worry about it.
And we made that joke at the start, too, and I've had mic issues the whole show.
Hey, it sounds good,
nonstop.
I've had no issues on my side. You sound good.
Okay.
Beautiful.
It kept muting my mic and changing. So anyways, I think that's enough. But Nick Suzuki, though, that was cool.
That was good, man. That was awesome. What a great kid. What a great kid, man. I think he's going to have a huge year. I think this is like John Cooper said it was his coming out party. I think he's going to take it to another level this year. I'm excited to watch him do it. And again, everybody be sure to follow us on all social medias at Habs Tonight, and be sure to like, comment, subscribe. And thank you for everyone that submitted the questions too. If we didn't get to you, I apologize. And again, thanks for everybody for tuning in. Brando, another dandy, buddy. Thank you.
No problem. All right, everybody. Also, thank you, Nick, in the background, making things work for us. So appreciate everybody that supports us, everybody on the Habs Tonight team that makes it work. Hope everybody has a good week, and we'll be back next week.